Today, and thinking back to Monday, obviously there's a lot um, that we have learned about diversity and communication. And what I want you to do is look at some of the takeaways of what we had studied already. And on Friday, I'm going to put up some really good videos for you to observe after you do the DQs for tomorrow. But I think for me, anyway, um, with all things being equal, communication is difficult because there are all different types of communication processes. The way we, the way we talk to one another, the way we communicate physically, body language. You may be saying one thing with your mouth and your gestures say something totally different, like you don't want to say it, or you're overzealous about what you're saying, or whatever. And the other thing is, with the use of technology um, and the many different types of technology we have today, like Instagram, YouTube, um, Snapchat, and we can go on and on and on, you know that. But I really think that communication is something that needs to be, more than anything, understood by the receiver the way it was intended by the sender. The whole process of coding and decoding messages, again, with all things being equal, has a certain significance in what we say and do every single day. The idea is communicating with these things all day long, back and forth, while we're communicating with others. Their distractions are their, one wrong thumb hit could mean something totally different to a mass of different people. And the other thing about communication is we all have our own judgments and our values and what we say and we do. And I would say maybe 40 to 50% of what we do stereotyping on an unconscious level. We do things automatically. Sometimes we do things and we don't even know why we said what we said and did what we did. And especially now, where many of us have been sort of ordered or advised to stay at home, um, we are all under one roof, and it's very easy for us to get on each other's nerves. It really is. But at the same time, we can build up a synergy and closeness and really think about what we say and do. In the past, we just said and did what we did, and we walked out the door. We left people just, uh, what'd you mean? What did you mean by that? What did you say? Many of you know in the communication process how difficult it was. And I hate to keep bringing it up, but it's a prime example of this section. No one said anything. Everyone clammed up, looking at the clock when the 50 minutes go by. But now it's a different scenario. Now you're competing for your grades in your own close quarters, and it's less intimidating. And I'm getting so much more out of all of you. I'm thrilled about that. Well, maybe it's the environment that intimidates us. We have social norms. Am I going to be the one that's going to raise my hand and communicate the wrong message? I don't want to be the bad person. However, and the whole purpose of a learning environment isn't about being good or bad, it's about learning. And when all this blows over, do we go back to where we were before? Or are we learning from this experience where certain elements of nature we have no control over, but we certainly can control our attitudes and the way we do things, the way we communicate? So much said about communication, and now we have to think about something else, and that is diversity in communication. when we are diverse with different cultures, especially when we're working in a global environment, how do we communicate with those different cultures? How do we understand how they break down and interpret information to their own comfort zones? We send a message in the comfort zone. Do we anticipate? And the chapter I read said, the section said something different about how sometimes we can tell stories and be able to communicate what we mean, not from a comfort zone of just our level, but from the comfort zone of the person receiving the message. If you think enough to interpret what you mean, do you mean what you say, and do you say what you mean? And does it break down that way? People coming from different customs, different orientations. In the workplace, we have lots of diversity. Do we respect that? It seems now that you can communicate without even opening your mouth, practicing social distance. As you go into, say, shopping, you need to do that. It's a necessity. So now, although you're separated, you're respecting each other's space. And sometimes doing it with a smile because we have no other choice. It isn't always just about me. And we have to also understand the feelings of those that we are communicating with. Do we understand that just like us, we all have one common bond, and that is our human connection? And although this may seem corny at this time, the idea is this is what it's all about. Everybody having to stop to help every other person because of the fact that we are connected. So although we're separated by social distance, we are more connected emotionally and spiritually than we ever have been before. We're looking at body language. We're looking at making sure that others are being comforted by some of the tragedies that they've experienced. But that is what communication is all about, where diversity isn't about our differences of who we are. Diversity is about our differences and what we do to support one another. So that's the way I want to close out my lecture series on this particular section. And on Friday, look for some really good YouTube videos on communication and diversity. Have a great week. Be safe and well. Professor D.